Good afternoon, friend. Myself is Rohit Tamil Kokate, and today's non-technical topic is storytelling on the golden touch. So, let's now what is the story of the golden touch. The story about the King Midas and the golden touch to understand how a man fight his worst nightmares due to his greeds. One upon a time, a king named Midas was extremely fond of gold. Although he was blessed with the enormous wealth in his kingdom's treasury, he was always unhappy. He would constantly think of the wealth he could amass and wanted more. He thought that if he had the golden touch, that we would make him a happiness man on the earth, as everything touched would the into the gold. One day the king Midas was counting his gold coins. A Greek god appeared before him and granted him to wish for a new few of his gold dates. Without thinking much, the king Midas quickly wished for anything that he touched to turn to the gold. The Greek god granted the king Midas' wish of the golden touch and vanished. Some time later, when a king was seated under the huge apple tree in his garden, an apple fell beside him. The king picked up apple, and the apple immediately turned into the gold. The king could not believe in his eyes. He touched the apple tree next, the turned into the gold as well. Whether the king touched turned into the gold. The king was so thrilled, and he went about the touching all random things around him. All things are turned into the gold instantly. The king was filled with the joy and was descended extreme. He then entered in his palace days full excitement. Soon the king was hungry and was looking for the eat some foods. However, with their food he touched into the gold. Thus the king could not eat anything, even though he was starving, led extreme disappointment. The king Midas has a daughter named Marigold. He, seeing that her father was hungry, disappointed, frustrated, and troubled, then the Marigold come running to her father's and throw her arms around him, comfort him. But to his utter horror, even the Marigold turns into the gold as he hugged her back. The king was struck with disable and horror. He had turned his desert daughter into the gold too. The king Midas' heart sank and his face turned pale with the unutterable grief, and he pain was the distributed when his daughter turned into the golden statue. The king carried an anigo and was the repent that he had wished for the golden touch. He took out the time of the king as realized the Greek was the biggest field he greed had given in the lifeless golden statue of his innocent little girl. He then peeled the Greek god away to his wish. Soon the Greek god is reappeared before the king took pity on the condition. The Greek god took back the golden touch from the king. He wise a golden told King Midas to make a dip into the pond his hand and place into the sprinkle the pond's water into the things wanted to change back to their previous condition. The king absently followed the Greek god asked him to do. After taking dip into the pond, he sprinkled water on the marigold and she was back into the normal again. The king is delegated to send below the daughter back to usual self, promised to hear her god aching. The summary of the golden touch is summary of the golden touch is the king Midas is about the tragedy Greek happiness and not recognize and appreciate. And the moral of the story is the story about the king Midas explained to us the degrees of the being greedy. Thank you.